So hello and welcome back. Got another free crochet project that I actually started a while ago. I'm going to go ahead and work on it today because I need to vent some feelings I'm having, specifically about alteration work. So sorry if I ramble a bit, but just bear with me. This is how I clear out my head. So today I had a fitting with a client I met through a mutual friend, and she needed a couple of dresses altered, one for a wedding that she's going to be in coming up this month, and the other for just, I think, another formal event. I hemmed them both. One needed a little bit of work done on the straps because they were too big, but other than that, it was a pretty simple job. Things I've done maybe dozens of times by now. I won't say hundreds just because I don't think I'm that good yet, but yeah, I've done it before. I'll probably do it again. Only this time it seems like I'm just weighed down by a bunch of anxiety. Anxiety I just never had before. And I don't know where it's coming from, although I have a suspicion. See, I'm gonna get a little personal here and just basically tell you guys something I've been holding on to for a while. About 2 years ago this November, my dad died. Very suddenly and very unexpectedly. Because yes, I've come to learn those are two different things. For reasons I won't get into this one, just because it'll make me cry. And even though I'm in a better headspace now, in general, I still can't help but feel like there's just this anxiety always gripping my heart and making me doubt everything I actually was good at one point. See, I've come to realize that a big part of grieving is that even if you don't feel guilty about the loss itself, that little bastard called guilt will always somehow eke its way into your thoughts. And it makes you feel guilty for some of the dumbest reasons. I'm not even kidding. I can admit this now because I can laugh about it. But recently, over a trip overseas, I had a full-blown meltdown over something that wasn't even really all that serious. I cried, basically, in front of all the people I was meeting for the first time. I was lucky that everyone was so understanding about it, too. Everyone knew in advance that I was going through this, but I don't think anyone really understood the extent to which I still felt all of this in my heart. And it's like I was saying to a couple of my travel mates that day. Later that day, I told them that at the time I'd been living with a grief-riddled brain for 18 months. And unfortunately, a big part of grieving is guilt. So suddenly, if things don't go right in my life, even today, it feels like everything is my fault. Even though I know objectively that's not true, that's just how it feels. Why it feels that way, well, I'm still kind of working through it. It's going to be a long and slow process, I guarantee it. To get to this point today has been a long and slow process. But it's part of the experience I know I have to work through. Otherwise, it's going to keep holding me back. I couldn't even bring myself to ask full payment from this client because I was angry with myself for taking so long with doing these alterations. I know my own timeline, and basically, these alterations shouldn't have taken me more than maybe a week each, 10 days tops, and it took me damn near a month. Pardon my language. In a way, it was basically me punishing myself by not accepting all that I was due. Not only was I getting nitpicky about the timing and the scheduling, I was getting nitpicky about the actual work I've done. Like I said, I've done these kind of alterations, hemming formal dresses and adjusting straps. I've done these things for years at this point. Again, not enough to say hundreds of times, but enough to know that I can do it and do it successfully. But I just didn't feel right taking it because I was starting to nitpick at every little thing I did wrong. I know that's got to stop eventually, because things are going to happen. The reason it took so long too is because we've had some family issues going on lately, in addition to a few bouts of illnesses. First, I wasn't feeling too well, and then my dog wasn't feeling too well. A couple weeks back, we had a literal shit show on our hands, and it was not pretty. I honestly don't know if this is ever going to go away. I don't know if I'll ever feel completely normal again. I would like to. I would like to get to the point where these moments of just, stuff happening, life happening, doesn't get in the way of me accepting my happiness or accepting what I'm owed or just accepting help, even if it ever gets to that point. That was my dog. So what I'm doing here is really nothing in particular. I started the shave over a year ago just to kind of get myself in the mood of what free crochet is. As I've said earlier, free crochet is effectively just whatever you want it to be. You can set aside your own pattern. You can make your own pattern. You can just do this and do a bunch of random stitching. The point is that it all comes together to create something coherent at the end. This netting technique I'm doing right here is one of my personal favorites just because it's really easy and you can do so much with it. Notice how flexible it is? I used to make these little netted sweaters all the time with this kind of pattern. I got really good at it too. I might start making them again. I don't really know. I do know at this rate they would be too expensive to sell online. I might make the pattern later for that sweater because I really do like it. It definitely pulls back on my millennial roots. I am a millennial because of when I was born, and for the younger kids who don't remember this or don't know it, there was a time when all of us oldsters were wearing kind of sheer or netted material as tops, like shirts, tank tops, tunics. Yes, tunics were very popular at one point. I will not give up my tunics. I don't care if people think it's a dress. It's a tunic and it's mine. And it flatters me. Anyway, it was the norm to wear different colored camisoles under a tunic or a top. Everyone had like this one really fancy tunic or top that they really liked that was either sheer for some reason or another, or it had a very low cut neckline. The style at one point was to take this top and just basically mix and match it with different colored camisoles. Yes, that's how old I am. We use camisoles often and unashamedly. And that's how I came up with the netted sweater that I had. The netted sweater that I have. I can't knit yet. Okay, it looks like we've got a little bit of cupping going on here because this is becoming taut, whereas this is still very loose. So I think we're going to have to switch gears and start moving this pattern over here to this side and go all the way around. Blocking might be a really good way to pull this out slightly and to make it lay flat again. Of course, I don't know what I'm going to do with it when it's done. I don't even know if it's going to be ready anytime soon. Some of these free crochet projects I just like to start willy-nilly, no pattern, no design, nothing in mind, and just go from there. It can be as abstract as I want it to be. That's the beauty of it. One thing I think I should warn you about these kind of videos is that my dad may be coming up a lot. Well, not a lot, but definitely. Let me rephrase. Not a lot, but he will be coming up from time to time. I need to prepare you for the fact that the grieving process will be coming up from time to time. And it's not because I'm a glutton for punishment. Although if you read some of my short stories, you might think otherwise. And it's for a really simple reason. This has just been a big part of my life for a while now. And anyone out there who's lost someone they love and knows what I'm going through, you're going to understand better than anyone. It's not something you can just, lock in a closet and you're done. It sticks with you. I think that's why people are scared to talk about grieving. It doesn't really go away. You just learn to make a little bit of room for it. Because it doesn't have to be a bad thing. I grieve my father when I think about some of our happiest moments together. The adventures that he and I had and the plans that we were making together. All the things that we did as a family. Sorry about the grammar. Me, him, my mom, my brothers. And just little things about him that I remember too. His aftershave and the way he liked his coffee. How he do random dancing in the summer months. And that was completely sober, I should add. As happy as these moments make me, and these memories make me, I still grieve for them. Because they're not here anymore. But that's the thing too, I don't mind grieving for them. I can't relive them, but I'm glad they happened. I'm glad I have those memories. Sometimes I'm relieved I have those memories. And on a personal note, I would like to normalize grief a little bit. We're living in a time when I think it's pretty safe to say that people are more sensitive to other people's feelings, which is great, Whatever you're feeling, even if it's odd, it's never invalid. But people are still scared to touch grief. People won't touch it with a 10-foot pole, if I'm being completely honest, based on my experience. And I think it's fair. It's fair because no one knows what to say unless you've gone through it yourself. And who wants to talk about the inevitable march of life and death as we know it creeping in slowly on us as everything we know and care about atrophies? See? Glutton for punishment. But as with most things in life, you have to accept every part of it. All the sweets as much as the sours. If you don't go through those tougher times in life, you'll never know what you have to be grateful for. That's how I look at it. And if you get hung up on all the ugly things in your life, then what kind of life are you even living? I'm sorry, I'm just kind of rambling at this point. I'm like splitting my concentration between waxing philosophical and trying to get all this off my chest and carefully chaining around the edges to make sure they don't curl up on me. If there's anything you should know about me, it's that I cannot multitask. I think multitasking is a myth. I cannot do it, and I refuse to try and get better at it. I think we're gonna finish this up here and then take a stab back and punt. And we will see how it looks. All right, let's see how we're doing. See, it's still got that curl coming up here. It's cupping on this because of the shape and how this is becoming taut compared to this. This is still loose, and this is growing taut, and that's what's causing that curl. But that can actually be fixed with another row, although I don't know if I want to do a border like this again. I don't know, I would like to maybe expand over here a little bit, though I'm not sure what I would do over there. Again, I'm just kind of pulling this out of my butt as I go. But I do feel a lot better, so I think I'm going to put this away for now, and we'll tackle it again next time I have another existential crisis. So thank you so much for listening in on this, and I promise these are going to be a lot shorter in the future. Is there anything you'd like me to talk about specifically? Would you like to hear more about alteration work? Or do you have any ideas on how I can maybe find some work-life balance for myself? Anyone out there who's in the same position I'm in, any advice for how I can get past some of the naughtier thoughts in my head, just let me know. Thank you so much for sticking with me, and I'll see you in the next thing I make. Bye.